Hi. When we all started this lockdown journey several weeks ago, we didn't really know what the future would hold. We didn't really know how long our children would be home from school. We didn't really know what the future would be. We had no idea what was coming. And as time has gone on, for some of us, the roadmap out of lockdown maybe started to come a little bit more into focus than it was before. Um, in England, certainly, there have been some moves towards suggesting dates of when a limited number of children might be able to go to school, in addition to those who've already been attending. And some other nations are beginning to say further things about what their intentions might be. And for some of you, that means there might be transitions coming up, and we are going to talk about that. And in fact, in the next video that I make, we're going to speak about transitions and the kinds of things you might be doing to prepare your child for possibly returning to school in the next weeks or months. But for a lot of people around the country, you're still in a situation now where you don't have a confirmed date when school might reopen for your child, and facing the possibility that your child may now be at home with you for quite a lot more weeks, maybe months, maybe until after the long summer break, whenever that finishes in your nation. And it's to you, families, that I wanted to talk today. Because when you are home educating your child for a long period, it's easy to get bogged down in the day to day. And sometimes your days don't really go very well. And if you're only focusing on that one day, and you focus on the day that didn't go very well, it can very quickly start to feel like it's all not going very well. And one of the things that I found really useful early in our home education journey was to think more long term in terms of what we as a family wanted to achieve through our journey and what I hoped for my children and for our family. Now, I'm not talking about when your children are 16, 18, 25, although that's the thought processes that I went through. But let's think about if you might be in the position where your child might remain home with you now until the end of the long summer break in August or in September, depending on where you are. And I might encourage you now to start to think about what position would you like your family to be in at the end of that time. What goals would you have for yourselves and your family at the end of that time? Because understanding where it is that you want to head towards can help you decide how you're going to deal with the situation that's in front of you today, and can help you to have a sense of perspective to support you to handle the difficult times when they come up, and to celebrate the wins and the successes when you do have them. I'm not talking about really specific things. I'm not particularly saying decide how many reading levels you want your child to have gone through, or what particular numeracy skill you might have encouraged them to have developed. I'm thinking more in general terms. Where would you like your family to be realistically at the end of this period of lockdown? At the time when schools start to reopen, what situation would you like to find yourselves in? For some of you, the goal will be we want to have survived, we want our family to still be intact, and we want our relationships to have survived, and we want to have just been able to say that we made it. For others of you, you might be in a different circumstance. You might be able to set some specific goals about what you would like to have achieved within your family, even if that's just maintaining the status quo in some ways. But if you can think ahead about the scenarios that you would be looking to find acceptable in August or September, it can help you to have some perspective on the days that are going to come in each week between now and then. So for my children, when they were very young and I was thinking about the possibility of home educating them throughout their entire education, I thought in quite general terms, not about what subjects I would like them to do or what specific knowledge I would want them to have learned or what specific examination grades I would have wanted them to achieve. I thought more in terms of what types of experiences we would have wanted to have as a family, what kind of young man and young woman I would be sending out into the world as a young adult, and what values and what understanding of the world that they would have to take with them. How would they be members of society? How would they uh, find their own way in the world? And what preparation can we put in even from the earliest age to work towards those kinds of goals? As I said, in your family, it may be that you just want to maintain your family, and that when schools reopen and your children are able to go to them, that you are in a place where that can be successfully achieved. That is a really great goal. If that is your goal, it's a really great goal. And if what you are doing in your family now is working towards achieving that goal, then you're doing the right thing for your family and your child. we've seen many social media posts about the kinds of things that people could be doing during lockdown. And I've seen many other social media posts of people saying, hey, you don't need to change the world during lockdown. You don't need to learn a new language. You don't need to learn a new skill. You don't need to write that novel you've always been thinking about. That might not be where you are. If you're at home with your children, you need to survive this day and the next day and the day after. But it's the quality of that survival. And it's how we measure whether we've survived. And when we do have a dark day and a bleak day, it can begin to seem overwhelming and we feel like we'll never make it. But if our expectations of ourselves and our family are realistic and we've thought them through, then we can put that in perspective and say, hey, look, this was a bad day, but the trend is in the direction of the goals that we set for ourselves, which may be that we survive, or it may be that we build our attachment relationships, or it may be that we work on raising our children's self-esteem and confidence so that when they do return, they're in a better position to learn. Or it may be that we look at ways to manage anxiety in our household and see if we can find activities and resources that will support us to support our children with their anxiety. I don't want you to set unrealistic, unattainable, difficult goals, and I don't want you to write them on tablets of stone. And don't write them anywhere, actually. There's no need to do that unless that's what suits you. But these can be flexible goals. You might say, well, I'd like to achieve this. But then 3 or 4 weeks down the line, it might be that seems unachievable. And you can revise the goals to something that's a bit more achievable and manageable for you. But it's good for you to have an idea of where you want to end up. Because if you know where you want to end up, it can help you pick the direction that you should be going in. It can help you to focus on the journey and not just the one footstep that's in front of you. I really want to encourage you. We did a survey of adoptive parents, kinship carers, and foster carers, and we found that despite quite a lot of people experiencing really severe challenges during this time, the overwhelming majority of you are managing to support your children's learning in some way while you're at home, and that really is an outstanding and fantastic achievement. And if you haven't been able to do that, you are still doing amazingly well because you are focusing on what your child needs and what is necessary to maintain the safety and the mental health and well-being of your family. And that's going to be our priority now and always, actually. So I want to bring encouragement to you. Some of you may be relieved at the possibility that your child might not return to school for several weeks or months. Others of you may be dreading the prospect. Whichever side of that you're on, or whether you're somewhere in the middle, we want to say that here at Adoption UK, we want to support you. Do be in contact with us. Do consider joining up with us so that you can access our peer networks and the services and the webinars that we're putting on. There is nothing like speaking to other adopters who are experiencing what you're experiencing and understand the situation that you are facing. Do please join in the conversation. Feel free to comment. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about some key ideas around transition to perhaps support some of those of you who are facing the possibility that your children may return to school sooner rather than later. So we'll talk about that next time. Bye.